And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Pre Imola Grand Prix news. Get ready. This is going to be a really interesting weekend. This may well tell us whether we have any kind of semi-championship fight or any fight for future wins other than Max Verstappen and, that Red Bull. So, coming up, we've got Ferrari upgrade. It's very upgrade centric here because there's more upgrades to come with the Aston upgrades and Lewis Hamilton with some Mercedes changes. Getting quite excited for the Grand Prix ahead, and Kevin Magnussen at risk of a race ban. Oh, shock horror. So here we go with the Ferrari upgrades. The first look for the Ferrari upgrades. So big news for Ferrari, because if these upgrades are going to work, this is going to stand them in really good stead for the championship. They've been highly anticipated, this package, and it's been appeared for the first time in the Imola pit lane, and the Scuderia are aiming to take that fight to Red Bull. Now, if I quickly change it here, you should be able to see, if I move this in a bit like that, the upgrades, I mean, kind of like there. The car does look a tiny bit different, I must say. So the Prancing Horse, as we know, they've arrived at Imola with this upgrade package, and having sampled the new parts in what was a filming day at Fiorano test last week with the spray and those beautiful wheel caps we spoke about, they were quite happy with them, which is good. And it is hoped that this update, featuring modifications to the side pod, inlets, floor and the rear wing, is going to allow Ferrari to challenge Red Bull on what they think is going to be a more consistent basis. Can they take the fight to Red Bull though? I mean, Fred Vassar said he hopes at the very minimum that these upgrades put Red Bull under pressure, so to the point where they are going to potentially make mistakes, even if Ferrari are not completely up there. Even a couple of tenths off a lap may well be enough to put Red Bull under pressure to make them make mistakes. Particularly if Sergio Perez cannot qualify well, Max Verstappen will be up there on his own, and that's when Ferrari can make the different pit stops and pit strategy calls, which is potentially going to be key for the rest of this year, assuming stuff is that, it's going to be that close. And also, we've got the first glimpse of the upgrades appearing as Aston Martin. They've got a new front wing, a new idea. Now, while the full extent of the changes are not going to be revealed until Friday morning, its AMR24 has already been spotted with a new and interesting front wing. I'm just going to share it with you here. There's on our motorsport.com, the new front wing for Aston Martin. So, what do we think of this front wing? Well, while the extent of the changes, it says, are not going to be revealed until later, the above exclusive photograph to motorsport.com shows the team has created a segmentation of the inboard and outboard portion of the front wing's two upper flaps. This change in profile, it falls in line with the inner edge of the tyre sidewall, blah, blah, blah. Will it make it go faster? That's what we all want to know. This will... Well, I don't know, because it's all absolutely, it's all a hoo-ha. So, we're not going to see the full extent, though, for Aston Martin until, obviously, the practice session and the race. But Aston Martin do very much need to come forward. They very much need to be faster, don't they? They are currently just about the fifth fastest team, because let's be fair, I think they're quite close to Mercedes. But even, you could make an argument in Miami. The Visa Cash app, our former AlphaTauri Toro Rosso, in the hands of both Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda, were not too bad. So as far as Aston Martin, I'm really, really hoping it's going to be better. And but they are expected, not just the front wing, to host a whole bunch of new parts on Friday and tomorrow, including a new floor, side pod, and engine body cover work. So, I mean, there we go. I think that's going to be quite interesting, to say the least. So moving on, Lewis Hamilton, he says he's excited by Mercedes' forthcoming upgrades, with the 7-time world champion hopeful that they now finally have what they say a North Star to follow for that improved pace. The issue is, how many North Stars are there? It's really, really hard to pick and choose the right one. Have they done the right one this week? Well, they've said it since 2022. Let's see. I'm hopeful. So on this Imola weekend, where a lot of upgrades a lot of teams have bought upgrades. I mean, McLaren bought the upgrade in Miami. It worked really well. Oscar Piastri had part of the upgrade, but he's getting the whole upgrade. Now, Mercedes, too, are going to have new parts on the W15. The former champions, though, are yet to finish a Grand Prix in a position, other than a sprint, higher than 5th, which is their worst season since I can remember. Ever, potentially, since they came back to Formula 1 in 2010. But Hamilton took heart from their late race pace last time out in Miami, when he finished on the tail of Red Bull's Sergio Perez on a weekend where setup for the upgrades brought to that event were restricted by the very nature of a sprint weekend. But why would you bring upgrades? Having said that, they worked very well at McLaren, didn't they? So the last race, Hamilton said, was positive, and there's a long way to go. He said, I'm really excited for the developments that are coming. We had a step in the last race, and we've got a step this weekend, and there's more in the pipeline. He says, I feel like we found more of a North Star of what we need to do and change. It just takes time, but the energy in the team is amazing. They are so resilient in this team, he went on to say. They are continuing to push, even though we have been knocked down quite a few times. I think more than quite a few. What, 3? Yeah, several. I think it's in the 10s now at this point. I'm pretty sure it's in the 10s. So, the last story of well, there's Hamilton excited about Imola, but the last story of the day is Kevin Magnussen, and he's unhappy, is K-Mag, about Formula One's penalty point system that's put him at risk of an automatic ban if he commits another infringement. So as we know, he picked up his 10th penalty point at the previous round in Miami. And if he reaches 12 by the end of the season, he will receive an automatic race ban. This came in when a certain Roman Grosjean decided to long dart half the grid, I think in Belgium, and he got a race ban for that. And I think I believe that's when the idea of penalty points came about. But Magnussen admitted he'll have to alter his approach to driving. Oh, there you go. Maybe the penalty points work, K-Mag. So he doesn't collect further penalties. So he can't admit that they're working. The next time is a race ban, so I think I will have to. Yes, Kev, that means the point thing is working if you're worried about a race ban and essentially not driving people off the track and, thinking, no, that's chicane. It's just, it's not really the rules. It's just a kind of like a guideline. So his 10 penalty points were issued for 4 separate incidents since the start of the season, 3 of which were collisions with other drivers, and the other occasion he went off track several times in order to keep Hamilton behind him during the sprint race in Miami. He referred to this incident as being an example of how he played a support role for Haas by delaying his rivals to help Hülkenberg score points. He said, I think these situations where I've had to play the support role for my teammate, they have been paying off, so it's kind of valuable to us. I don't love the way the rules are, that it's possible to get a ban, he said. I would love it not to be possible at all, but since the rules are as they are, and I didn't make the rules, I think there's stuff to be looked at here. For myself, I'm on 10 points, so I have to be careful not to get a race ban. They went on to say, while the stewards have largely, obviously, he didn't say this is me saying it now, while the stewards have largely stopped issuing penalty points for track limit infringements, Magnussen received 3 for that reason, for what they called exceptional circumstances, as in, I'm going to stay ahead, I'm kind of cheating. So the fact Magnussen has now said the fact that I'm at risk of a race ban for driving outside some white lines on a piece of tarmac, I don't know if I feel that is right, he said. It is the way the rules are, so I accept that, but I feel there's room for improvement here. Not only in terms of points, there are more races now than there were back then when they were introduced, and I feel you can end up getting a race ban effectively for a very minor thing. That's what I feel. Yeah, but there's a lot of minor things. I mean, I just think he's moaning. I'm sorry. You were exceptionally naughty, I thought, at Miami. Maybe, you could make an argument that the stewards were kind of like maybe a bit harsh, but no one else has got this close to a race ban. And K-Mag is known for being very, very fighty, which I think is a good thing. It makes it exciting. He just crossed the line several times. And then he goes, I've got to be careful. It shows it works, Kevin. Anyway, there we go. If you like what you see and you want to see more, like and subscribe. We will, funny enough, I'm working late. So the practice and the qualifying show, I'm probably going to go out really early the next morning after it's actually happened, unfortunately. So I don't know whether we did certainly get a race review in there and probably one more maybe after qualifying talking about it, especially if any incidents happen. But we will be with you throughout the weekend anyhow, doing more videos. We still have at the time of the time of listening or seeing this, you'd probably have noticed that our penultimate F1 97 Ayrton Senna video will be up by now in Portugal. We've got one more left at the time of recording, which is Europe. So there we go. Like and subscribe. If you do one, you're amazing. You're a world champion in our eyes. If you do both, you are very much a multiple world champion. Thank you very much. We'll speak to you soon.